Hi, my name is Howard Binder, and I am the owner of the Bee Heat and AC. Being a business owner and also being a technician in the field can be a lot to manage. Sometimes I'm in a boiler room working on a call and I get a call about another call that I can't be at and have to either coach the technician on what to do or appease the customer, or sometimes it's walking through an apprentice. So there's always lots of things to juggle. I also might be taking a call for software training that's going on.
Tell them to help. They're reminding you to follow up with things. So yeah, it's everything.
Okay. Or someone from the office.
If you get the 2 and an 1/8, it's multi-purpose, so we could use it for both. You already got the bit, right?
I did, and I already got 2 and an 1/8 for sure.
There's a lot going on. I definitely feel like an ADD kid and just having to respond constantly to the demands of the business, but it's definitely exciting and keeps me on my toes every day. We had gas smell, which is never good. No one else could get out there, so we're heading there now. So I wanted to make sure they're safe. He can't smell it. His mother-in-law can though, so you know how that goes. Got to keep the mother-in-law happy. So anyways, we're gonna go make mom happy and make sure there's no gas, cause kaboom, no bueno. When I go into the field and I'm running an estimate, basically it's kind of one of the most important jobs for a couple reasons. Number one, you're the first point of contact with the customer. And so anyone I have running estimates, I'm always making sure I just want the customer to have a good experience. It's time to replace it. So if you plan on selling in the next 5 years, no?
No, we're not that old.
Okay.
We are retired.
It looks like it's gonna get up to 90 like tomorrow.
It's so weird. It's like AC one week, heater the next. Because there's another furnace down there too. From
We noticed.
the graveyard.
And nobody wants to take that.
Okay, we'll take it out. When we show up on a job or show up to do an estimate or anything like that, I always try to listen to the customer and ask lots of questions. I tell technicians always, and especially apprentices, that questions can save you time, and saving time is better than saving money because it's the only resource you can't get back. That's a little 2 cents. But where I was going with that is, sometimes you'll walk in and a customer might even be misinformed about their system. And so that's why I always ask lots of questions and really investigate for myself if the system's in a crawl space or in an attic, rather than being too lazy to get in the crawl space or get in the attic. Yeah, you see furnace graveyard? Because people are too lazy to break it down and because you have to disassemble that whole thing in order to get it through that hole. And so they'll just pull it out and leave it down here. We always go down, take a look at the equipment, get an idea of what we're looking at before making any type of judgment or decision.
And we don't have a clue how any of it works and what you do and how much it's going to cost or anything. We've been using swamp coolers for years, but we just don't want to hassle with it anymore, and it's not as good as a central air.
Every once in a while you get a job where you just walk in and it's one thing after the other. But we walked in on this one job and basically the plumbing had been leaking for a while, and we knew we needed to, or the customer knew they needed to replace it, but all of the water had leaked across all the equipment. And when it leaked, it destroyed 2 low water cutoffs, it destroyed 2 ignition control modules, and in the process of repairing or replacing those components, we discovered that all of the wiring had actually disintegrated. So all of the thermostat wire that was connected between all of the relays and ignition assemblies was also shorted out. And so it became an issue of redoing all the wiring for the system. And so, yeah, we were there for 5 hours. It was 9:30 at night, and I was like, God, is this thing ever gonna end? It's a roll of the dice. You don't know. That's the thing about boilers. They always joke, if you call your wife and say, hey, I got a boiler call, she's going to take the pot of water off the stove, cover your food, put it in the microwave, and just save it for you. Because you don't know how long it's, sometimes you're good, sometimes you could be here for 4 hours. Sometimes there's calls where I'll cuss in front of the customer and not even realize I'm cussing. I'm just like, this job. And I don't say it like that, but my face says it and they know. And so does my girlfriend when I get home at midnight. The aperture's open enough?
Yeah, as open as can be.
All right. Anyways, so yeah, we just finished a boiler call. That's why it's 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, that job was definitely interesting. And by interesting, I mean a pain in the ass. You know, and basically the one thing at the end of the day that becomes a mission and the priority is really just making the customer happy. And so in that situation, you just over-communicated with the customer. I really try to explain what's going on because I feel like most technicians try to explain it, but it can be difficult. And so they might just simplify and say, hey, it needs this. I like to take that extra step of trying to explain it in layman's terms or in as simplified of terms as possible so the customer can understand why we're doing what we're doing. Kind of what happened was we had a lot of water getting in here that fried this, and then this was actually hanging like right here, filling up with water dripping directly on it. And in that situation, you know, I explained to the customer when we got to that spot where I was at a standstill. I'd been on the job for 6 hours, was unable to locate the short and the wire. Sometimes it just takes a fresh set of eyes. And so we actually had a technician come out from Intermountain Boiler Works that specifically works on controls for large systems. And where I'm having an issue was you'll see there's some plumbing that is gonna need to be redone on the boilers because there's a little bit of like leaks that have been there for probably a couple years, but it ended up getting on 2 of the low water cutoffs that they had installed. So we replaced, so it was fried. It fried some of the other electronics. Transformers were shorted out because there was water dripping on them. And on this particular job, you know, the customer was happy, and happy customers, a successful job, even though we lost money on it. And that's, you know, what's important. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but if the customer's happy and they've got heat or cooling and they're comfortable, that's a happy day. And then I took 10% off.
Okay.
So it'd be $13.05 total.
Okay. Perfect.
And then we'll have it in the next hour or so.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
You got
Appreciate it.
No worries. As a you know, as the owner of the Bee, I don't view myself as an HVAC contractor or just a business owner. Really, I feel like I'm an advocate for the trades in general. I know that I think outside the box and I have a very creative brain and mind, and so I really think that's my strength. And so how I see that playing out in the company is being the marketing guy that really helps other people brand themselves. You know, a media team, like I said, I'll have a guy there filming you. Like you guys are gonna, where I'm looking at is like content. Like I'm building a media company. I'm not building an HVAC company. And so I'm gonna bring on guys like you that are good at what you do, and you can focus, do your work, and then go home. But it's all branding. The reason I want to grow a national brand is because I want to have a larger sphere of influence to be able to make changes in the industry. I want to have sustainable packaging made from compostable plastics. I want to have refrigerants that are non-toxic and don't damage the ozone. I want to have a clean recycling program that seamlessly integrates to where I can stamp a 100% recycled materials stamp on an AC, and then when I drop it off at a customer's house, they know, but it was also efficiently made from recycled materials, making this something that's affordable, because the second part of the equation is that this system can actually repurpose gray water. For those of you who don't know what gray water is, it's any water that's not connected to your sewage system. And by repurposing it or putting it through this system, that actually prevents that drainage or that runoff from going out into the environment. That's my long-term vision for the company. I really want to be the brand that creates the changes that need to be made for our environment so that not just the environment in terms of the air we breathe, but also the business environment so that people have a better quality of life and people are less burnt out and the industry is more efficient in doing the things that are available for long-term sustainability, so that we're not being dinosaurs when we're living in an age where we can really revolutionize things.